Hey guys, Zoe here, and I'm back again for part 3 of the 5-part series for how to create a body mesh. We're going to learn how to actually bind the body mesh together in a process called skinning. So without further ado, let's kick it over to Deadly Sin.
Alright, so after you're done with your tweaking, and you can always go back, remember that. You can always come back here and tweak, make it more belly, whatever. We can always come back here and make our shape different. So in the end, we have this little guy that I made. I'm pretty happy with the shape overall. As you can see, the shape can use more refine. We can totally do that. And that's the next stage. So before I do that, I like to make sure I have one poly before all of them. And then I make another poly. I know this sounds weird, but... And now, so on this poly is where I'm going to apply the mesh smooth. And to do that is very simple. Select everything, put it on the front page, on the front view by pressing F. And then I hold Alt and I deselect the extremes of the mesh because we can't change those. Like so, then we click on P and we make sure everything is nice and only like the connections leading to the ends are not selected. Before even this, before I forget, something we should do heads up is select all of our vertexes and click on Weld, just like so, and make sure we have 0, 0, so only the top ones will merge with each other and everything looks good. So that means everything is welded in the spots that were cut before. Now we get the poly again. And now we do the selection we just did. Just like so. And we miss those. Make sure I didn't miss. I'm holding Alt here, just selecting and selecting. Just make sure everything is right, because if we mess up here, and remember, always save your work. I'm gonna save it soon after I do this mesh smooth. It's an option right over here, you can see, and we click. One click is fine. And there you go. Now we have a more detailed mesh, or call it whatever you want. But now we have a lot of dots, okay? That means we're gonna have more work in our skinning, okay? So after the shape is done and it looks nice, now we gotta try it with the skinning. And this is where things are gonna get a little bit complicated now. We're gonna add the skinning, we're gonna get out of isolation, okay? And on the skinning, we're gonna add, and on the select option over here, we want to have select children selected. Excuse me. And then we're gonna click on female master root and then select. And you're gonna put all the bones, as you can see over here. We're gonna put this up a little bit here. We don't need that. We're gonna put all the bones in here and whatever, what's or not. So, how does skinning work? Before we start, a couple of things we need to do first. And one of them is we're gonna click F3 here, so we can see the bones, and we're gonna put some animations of our own. So now it's the part we save our work. So I'm gonna save mine. It's gonna be my male 5 now. It's my 5th save. I mean 5th separated. But you should always be saving while you do something. Now the work is saved, you can click Ctrl S2 to save anytime you want. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select all of these bones. As you can see, we have some kind of animations in here, and I'm just gonna, you know, delete those. And before I do that, I'm gonna click on this time configuration down the bottom right over here, and I'm gonna put the end time. I don't know, I'm gonna put like a lot of end time. I don't care. I'm gonna put like 500. Okay, even if it's overkill. And now we have this movements from IMVU, which we can totally leave in there. it's a good point to start, but we better do our own. So I'm gonna go now select all of those and click on delete, just like that. Over here, make sure you have selecting this and not this. And now the character should not move at all. And that's great. Now we're gonna select everything. First of all, we're gonna set the body here, and the hands, just like so, and the head, the glasses, and just a little bit of the feet. Not the complete feet in here. And just gonna put a quick pull to see if I'm grabbing everything, and I'm not. So I'm gonna grab the air as well, and that looks pretty much everything. So now Control Z. And with this selected, I'm gonna right click. It's gonna give me an error here, but go on object properties. Okay, this is an error because of my plugin, ignore that. And make sure you have show frozen in gray off and click OK. And now we can go here on our left and we can froze it. Oops. We can froze the guys. Okay, so now we can click them. That's pretty handy on the bones. Okay, and that's gonna help us now with what we're about to do right now. So at 0, we're gonna select all the bones. So now, as you can see, it's only selecting the bones. Here, it's only selecting bones, and the nose, of course. And now we're gonna click set key, and we're gonna make sure what keys are we're checking. So you see here on the key filters, we're checking the position, the rotation, and the scale and the IQ parameter. We're gonna take the scale off just for measures of safeness. We don't need that, and that's about it. We only need position and rotation. In fact, we only need rotation. So in fact, we can even take position, but you know, just stay there. And now set key. Set key is set. Now, as you can see, we have like a lot of keyframes in there. So we're gonna start with the legs. So we're gonna click on the right hip, and we're gonna click E, or up here, select and rotate, and we're gonna rotate this. We can put an angle by activating the angle snap toggle right here. And if you right click, we can see what angle are we doing. We're 45-degree angles. Okay, sure, 45-degree angles. And let's say we want from 0 to 20 frames, and then we do 90 degrees. And then we click on key. There you go. Now this is what we have. It's wonderful. And should be moving, which is not. So we're gonna put auto key, and we're gonna click on 20. I'm gonna click on this hip, have 3 to 6 bones again. So I'm gonna put auto key on and click on the key now, and I'll move 20 and 90, and now it should do it. He's doing this weird rotation, which I don't like, but we can fix that later. But to be honest, it kind of helps too with the movements. Yeah, that's not that bad. And now to make it go back, we can just click on this one, hold shift, click and drag, and 40. And it's gonna do the same thing backwards and go back to the position it was. Just like that. If we wanna hold, we can just click on this, shift for a few frames right there. So we can hold and then bam. Hold a little bit, okay, hold a little bit more. And just for us to see, there you go. Now we're gonna do this for every part of the body, okay? So we're gonna do now the same thing for this guy. For this guy now, for example. So this guy is at 0, we wanna make sure he starts around here. So we're gonna put the key here, and now from up here, we're gonna drop just like that. We're gonna make a 90 degrees angle, just like that. If you don't want to work with this, it's fine too. You can take this off. It's absolutely fine. And then from here, we hold shift, and then we drag up, and then we make him stay there a little bit, just like so. So it should be like now and down. Poof. There you go. So now we can fix SD. So we're doing this so we can see angles and fix our skinning. Okay. So this is the crucial part of our work, to see if it actually works well. And now I think you're gonna do this for every part of your body, including this one. So you're gonna rotate like this and like this, okay? So everything is the same. Like this Remember, some bones do not move, they only move in a certain direction, okay? Don't go like making weird movement with the bones. For example, the bicep here, the bicep is not, it's a bone that is really not supposed to do certain movements, okay? So keep that in mind when you're playing around, okay? Same goes for the wrists, but the wrist is, I don't think it's gonna affect our shape. So I'm gonna stop the video right here. I'm gonna do all the animations for each bone and then I'll be right back. All right, welcome back. So now you should have all the animations for every single bone. Even if some bones you did some unnatural movement, I will show you that in a second. So, as you can see here, I'm gonna show you this one. We saw that, then I'm gonna do a nice spread. Look at that. Now I'm moving the thighs, now the hip. So I guess I did some kind of mistake here. No, I just moved the thighs backward this time instead of forward, okay? And then move the hips, move the spines left and right, up and down, every single spine, just like so. And then we move the clavicle, the shoulder, and the biceps as well. And then, of course, here, the one that presents the elbow right there, just like that. And that should be it. That should be all the movements that you need to, you know, for fixing our mesh. Now, before, there's a couple things that we're gonna do before we even go into skinning again. First of all, we're gonna unfrozen everything, and then we're gonna unhide those models. We're gonna select our little guy. We're gonna remove the skin out. And in this poly here, where we did the mesh smooth, we're gonna use it. I'm gonna click on vertex. First on faces, you should have some faces select. We're gonna unselect those faces. Then we're gonna go here on vertex. And actually, no, go on polygon still. Select all the polygons, clear all over here, and put the auto smooth so we only have one group. Everything is cleaned up in there. And now we unselect, go on vertex, and we're gonna fix the extremities of our shape, okay? Our limitations in this in IMVU. And what I mean by that, we're gonna fix like the connections in the neck, the ends, and the feet. I'm gonna start over here by the hand. We click S from shape, or we can of here, or we can click on this guy over here. That's the snap. If you right click, make sure you clear all and put vertex only. So we're only snapping to vertex. So now I can grab this vertex and snap to that one. So I know they are absolutely on top of each other. This is important because then if you change your hands on IMVU, the body needs to fit. This is one of the limitations of working for IMVU. We can't change those, you know, those aspects of your body mesh. Well, you can, but then you're gonna have to make everything for everyone, and then everyone needs to buy your own product, which is kind of weird. And that's not how things work. So let's go keep on getting out of subject here. As you can see, it's a very tedious process, like every single process we do. So if you think it's not snapping right, you can always zoom in, click on Z to zoom even, to focus on selected, and make sure everything is right. Take your time. Don't rush things when you are on this stage already. Actually, you should never rush on any stage, but just don't rush things. Just take your time. There we go. Now we're gonna do the same on this one. That's all I'm gonna be doing. If you want to go ahead with me, go ahead. Just gonna take my sweet time, because we already are getting in that stage where we are gonna put it on the IMVU and then fix it and put it back on view and fix it and put it back on view and fix it, and the tweaking part. And remember, you can always change the shape. I'm gonna actually change. I'm not enjoying some parts here. I'm gonna actually change a little bit. My limitations, it's everyone's limitation, but it doesn't mean we can do it right. So let's keep on going. By the way, the feet and the hands should be provided by IMVU when you open the file, the one we started with, you know, if you remember. So make sure that you never change the place of those. Otherwise, you're gonna have to go open a new max file and merge the pieces that you need to make sure this is certain. Okay, we're almost at the end here. We're on the last feet. and voila. Now another thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure we don't have overlapping vertices because of our cuts. So we're gonna weld this again, and we're gonna put 0, 0, 1, so they have to be really on top of each other. And we have some of here like that, see? So we already have some problem here. Now fixed. Our mesh is clean, fixed, and ready to be skinned. And now it's when we put our skin modifier, and we're gonna add our female master root, and voila. Now we're gonna isolate this, Alt U, and we're gonna go into the most boring stage of our work. So the first thing you should notice, you already have noticed, is now we have some kind of skinning already working for us around here, right? Now the cool thing about this is it kind of helps us a lot already, and we can see, but remember we always have to work together with IMVU. So I'm gonna show you how we fix this now. So the first thing you're gonna do, you're gonna click on, first we're gonna get more space in here. And then the second thing we're gonna get is click on this edit envelopes right here. And now we're gonna get all the bones we have connected here. We're gonna press S and A to turn off our snaps if we have any snap on. And now we're gonna turn on the select option over here. We're gonna turn vertex mode option for selecting them on. Another thing we want to do is how we're gonna select them. We're gonna go here on our marquee selection over here, and we're gonna use this lasso option over here, which is very helpful for this type of situation. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click F so I can go in the front view where we see our shape. And how do we start skinning? It's very simple. We do something called, the first stage is called the blocking stage, okay? So what I mean by blocking stage is we're gonna grab vertices and we're gonna glue them to the most important bone that they are close to. So in this case we have the calf here, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go, make sure your back face skull vertices, it's off, so you can actually select the back. I want to select the back. So now we click and drag. We can draw with this and then keep going and going and going, and then you will select what you need. So here I go. So I'm gonna start with here. I'm gonna select, and I'm gonna think around there. Bam, that's gonna be my selection. Now, before we go, press P and I'm gonna check everything to make sure everything is right, because I want to use this as the breaking point of between there. As you can see, we're missing a few, so you can just put like a down angle so you don't set anything up, or a straight angle. It's up to you. And we're gonna hold Control and we're gonna select those just like so. All right, so now we have all of this structure, all of those vertices selected, and now as you can see, those little black or grayish lines represent the bones that we are working with. So we click on the bone. As you can see, how now we have this weird colors going on over here. So to be really fast, it's very simple. The red means absolute, which is a value of 1. It means nothing else is affecting those vertex beside the bone that I select, which means red. It means they're following the right bone. But as you can see here on the bottom, there's some oranges and yellows and blues, and then on the top, that means it's getting influenced by something else. And I will explain that in a second. But for right now, we want all those vertices that I selected to be one value, an absolute value of the calf bone over here. So I'm gonna go here to the absolute effect, and I'm gonna go 1. And as you can see, everything becomes red. Perfect. This is a blocking stage. We're doing blocks by blocks by blocks, so then we can smooth them out. And something that you can see, this little tool here, the weight tool, we should click on it and just leave this around hanging on here, or on your second monitor if you have one. I'm gonna put it on my monitor here because I want to show you. As you can see, it was being affected by the calf and the thigh, some bones around this this particular area. And now as you can see, the value is absolute in 1. It's good. So now I'm gonna see what this represents. So to help me out, I'm gonna click a random bone up there. So with random bone, thank you. So we can see everything else. So we know we want the hip to be starting for this to be our endpoint. But right now I'm gonna select this and be part of the thigh. So where do we want our thigh to be? Because then we have the hips. The hips are gonna be around here somewhere, right? This is gonna be hips. This is gonna be all thigh. So we're gonna do like a selection. So I lost myself. Where was I? So I'm gonna start making a selection just like so. I'm I'm gonna make this my tie selection, just like that. Be careful not to go to the other side. I was not careful here with my camera. That's okay, so I'm gonna select all of those. And then I'm gonna hold Control, and I'm gonna select this wave that I want, just like that. But be careful, make sure you close the circle. And just like that. So now I'm gonna click P from person. I'm gonna make sure I have what I want. In this back camera, it's gonna be a little bit more complicated. So maybe sometimes we need to do like the spread. It's gonna be the one helping us a lot. So in here, as you can see the tie over there, it's gonna help us a little bit selecting what is tie, what is not. And I can see already here, this is tie, just like that. Okay. So we make sure we select everything that I think or you think it's going to be the tie and not the hip. We have to be very careful here in the middle. As you can see, we're selecting some middle vertices in here. No, we're not. So that's perfect. Okay, so now we're going to make this a value of absolute value of 1 in the tie. So now we have the vertex selected. We click on the tie and then we do the same process. We click absolute effect 1. All right. And voila, everything that I selected in this area is going to be tie related, okay? Don't worry about, even if this is going to be tie, don't worry about it right now. So now we're going to, something I hate about the IMVU is it has like a left and right hip. It's very weird, but it is what it is. And sometimes even you have the pelvis, which is even more weird. Because the pelvis is not a bone in here, it's just a node, but okay. So I'm going to select a bone over here, it doesn't bother me. And now what I think is going to be the right thigh, oops, or we can, to help us a little bit more, because this is the more complicated, we're going to see what is going to be the spine. So the spine, I think the spine 1, as you can see the bone over there, it's going to be exactly where she is. So the spine 1, we're going to be like here, oops, too much, like so, da, 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 da. For me this is going to be probably the spine 1, just like that. So we're going to Control P, I mean just P. See, I'm selecting here stuff that I don't want to select, so we're gonna just deselect all of this. But I do want those. You can select individuals as well. I do want those to be spine for now. Well, actually no, this is already not our spine. So actually this wave I was doing right. This one I want it off. So I can just hold Alt and voila. Same way for select, I can do Alt and like this. Okay? Just like so. Just this is the line I'm looking for. Alright. And now what I'm gonna do here, actually I selected the pelvis node. That was a mistake. Perfectly fine. I'm gonna select the spine. I want to select the spine. I think this is the spine. Actually, I had the spine selection. Yeah, spine 01, there you go. Oh no, I lost that selection. Okay, see, that's the problem with spinning. Sometimes you're gonna be boring. So F again, and let's select this again. So I have my spine, I was actually perfectly correct there. So let's select all of this again. Just like that. I feel like the hip is gonna incorporate, okay, I think this one is gonna be spined as well. At least for now. There we go, we're gonna go back to the Bexies here and just take those out. Just like so. And now we put the value, it was actually to the pelvis now, which is weird for me. But now we put an absolute value of 1 to the spine. There we go, now we have this little belly there on the spine. And as you can see here, I missed those squares, so I could just hold Control, put them anywhere, and value of 1. And there we go. Always make sure you don't have anything special selected that you're not supposed to be. So this is already helping us a little bit, okay? So the second thing we're going to do now, we're going to go to this curve over here. We're going to do the same thing we did. We're going to go on the front view. And we're going to do our same marquee selection, was around over here. Click on P, go around, because now we know those guys never get selected for some reason, and we select them. Now we have those extra. There we go, now we know this is going to belong to this curve. So we put 1. This is the blocking phase. This is good. Slow and easy. Now tie again. So if you remember correctly, I don't remember where we cut exactly, but I remember this is not part of the tie. So one thing we can do to not mess us up is, for example, I don't want any of those vertex right here to be part of that. So we can actually come over here, select those just like that, and make sure they are not in the tie but on the right hip. So we're gonna go find the hip. This one we click with the vertex selected and we put 1 area of effect. So now we start making our hip, okay? Even if those ones over here, this ones over here are not that part of that hip, but and some of those are not part of the hip as well, but it's okay, because these areas are the messy ones. So again, we're gonna spread over here, and actually we're gonna Control Z here. I don't want to lose the tie over there, so we have to be careful here with our selection. So we're gonna remove all of this, front view again. We're gonna remove all of those. This ones are fine. This one is fine. But no, yeah, this one is fine. Now this is really detail and slow work right now. So make a good blocking area, and then everything else will be great. And this doesn't belong to the hip in my opinion, okay? Maybe. I don't remember where the other cut from the spine was, but we can actually go here and see. So I cut it around there. So this actually belongs to the spine. And now we can go back to this hip and just walk around. So this S area, we have some hip already in there. We can click not bottom but back, which has no shortcut, and we're gonna remove. Now we can put the patient to the tests and just remove what I don't think belongs to the right hip, at least for now. We're gonna fix values eventually, but for now I want this to be like this, because the hip, I want the hip to be kind of this area what I am actually affecting right now. Actually this is okay like this. Maybe here a little bit more. So maybe those I want to be part of the hip. Now let me see how it looks in the front. This is more tie here, tie. So maybe we don't want them so much. Yeah, we're gonna cut around here. We're not gonna put those. Just gonna open legs. Where is our open legs? Yeah, so we have to be careful because those are more tie than anything else. But I'm gonna put now hip 1. See what happens here? It's bam, it breaks there, which is okay. And I think that's not a bad selection at all. Now we have some problems there, it's okay. We're gonna have a lot of weird vertices going on. And what's happening with those vertices is they're following the tie and not the hip. So we're gonna select those as well. And we're gonna put hip. Is there anyone here weird not hip? Right. So now it should be a little bit better. There's still this guy over here is on the tie, so we want to make sure he's on the hip. And I believe we have a hole there in the mesh, which is kind of weird because we weld, so this is something that you need to be careful. And then 1 again there, because it's affecting our work. So as you can see here, we have 2 vertices here. Oh no, okay, it was just very bad positioning. Okay, there you go. Okay, this is the blocking stage. We're blocking the hip. We're going it slow and slow and slow until we have everything blocked, and then we start connecting them, which I will show in a second. But just keep the blocking. So I use the hip, I use those, I'm gonna put in front here. So I use everything around. So I'm gonna try and select the same selection, kinda. This is what I did. Just like that. And I made sure on the back I was extra careful on the spread position, and I was make sure that those were not, for at least for now, right? But there will be way more. I'm gonna take this one little guy out of there, and then we're gonna now slowly click. Makes this weird effect here. Maybe I should go all the way and make this with the hip here, but that was all adjustable later on. So right now we're gonna do this, but we're gonna do this for the other hip, just like so. And we're missing a few here. Don't worry about the middle will be spread. All right. Solid. Okay, maybe this one hip as well. Okay, for now it looks really good. And now everything else should be tied. Okay, so we're gonna make sure everything else is tied. So we're gonna make our selection right in here. We're gonna start off like this. We're gonna make sure we select a different bone here so it just bothers a little bit. And we keep on selecting and selecting. We can use grow. I think there's a grow option somewhere, just like that. But remember, it grows from backwards as well. So holding control and selecting what I think it's going to be tied, like those right there. All of this looks like it's pretty much tied. And in here as well, I'm gonna grab. Re-entering the hip so we can click here and see exactly where the hip is. So the hip is right there, so we can just like that. For now, this one is part of the tie as well. Now on the back, extremely careful here. Let's make sure we're not selecting what we're not supposed to select. Actually looks pretty solid for now. Okay, maybe not this one. We want to mess with the selection we did there. And now on this guy, we're going to put one to the left. Hip, that was wrong. Okay, as long as it's selected, click here, one time. There you go. Okay, we selected some curve here. We will fix that in a second. All right. Okay. Now we have something affecting here. So here it's supposed to be hip, and here it's supposed to be hip. Okay, it already hits hip. Hip. Okay. All right. So we're getting a little bit better now. So when you look at this now, look at that. We have the blocking stage done. And look how weird it looks, see how weird it's looking? It's normal, but at least now we kind of have the shapes in the place that they belong. Now, how to start fixing this? So we're gonna start here with the knee here. So as you can see, the knee here, remember we don't want to make this look like rubber, okay? We actually want this to look, you will understand in a second. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to select this guy. And I can see that this guy and this guy are not calf one. They're still tied. So I want to make them really calf. And this guy, I want him to be tie. As you can see, I already have it here. It's actually helpful for me. This guy. Yeah, so this guy, I want him to not have anything in the calf. So now I should have like a cut, like that. That's perfect, okay? Now this is where we start smoothing things out. So we can go here on this ring. Sometimes we have rings, sometimes we don't, so it depends. Let's see if we can loop this. We can't. Can we ring? We can't. So we have to do it manually. So we just do it manually, it's fine. Front view, and now we go on the lasso. We have a tool, and we're gonna select this little guy. And we make sure we have all of it selected and not this. We make sure we have this selected. Now we make sure we deselect this. Make sure we deselect this. Just like so. And now we're gonna go bend. And we're gonna select the calf here. I mean, the calf, yeah, because that's part of the tie. And we're gonna go slowly introduce some values here. Okay, so now what we're doing here, we're gonna start smoothing this out. That's the paint option too, but for now we're gonna use it like this. So I'm gonna select all those vertices over here, bend, and in this case I want them to have. Okay, so I think I'm selecting some bad vertices here. Okay, there you go. So make sure you're making good selections, clean selections. Now I should influence the tie a little bit. Where is my bend? There you go. So those guys should go a little bit to the tie. So now I select tie, and now I affect them a little bit. Okay. And now remember, sometimes this kind of effect, it's what we want. We don't want to rubber it. Okay. We kind of want to leave it smooth, but not rubber. There we go. Now, as you can see, it's starting to bend. You can come over here and start selecting vertices like this. And I would like to introduce tie, so I just click on the tie with those vertices on, and look at that. See? There you go. We start cleaning our work. So I put 220. Make sure you're careful with those values. I'm gonna put 220 on those guys over here as well. Right. So now we are starting to fix. So as you can see here, it needs to go a little bit as well. Because when we bend, it doesn't look so weird. But remember, slow touches. But all of those probably gonna have the same value. And we kind of start fixing our work like this. And this guy as well. It's a patient work, as you can see, but yeah. Now we need to push those a little bit more down. Remember, we don't want this to deform too much. We want it actually to see exactly what happens, kind of what's happening in there. Just like so. And up here on the front, we're gonna select those little guys. I don't like too much what's happening in there. And I'm gonna put a little bit of calf in there. Like so, maybe this guy needs a little bit of calf as well. Guy. No, really, take your time. Skidding is something you really should take your time. It's gonna give you a headache sometimes. Sometimes it's gonna be pretty easy, like it is on the knee. But the principle is right there. When you make a line, make sure you actually do the whole line, so it doesn't look weird after. You can see here now we start having this smooth coloring happening, which is it's what we're looking for. So now it's like a bend there. So now we may select those guys over here. Careful with the back face selection. We should have an option here somewhere. Back face cull vertices on. No, so we don't select the back. when we select in the front, and when we bend, we want more, a little bit of curve in here. And it's almost getting what I want. I don't want too much deformation. I want the mesh to not deform much and keep up with the aspect. Even if in the back it does like this, it's simple as that. And that's how you skin everything in this body. This is exactly what we're gonna do for the entire body. We're gonna go find those problematic areas, and we're gonna find which bones we need to pull more to which side. That's pretty much the whole principle of skinning. It's finding a good blending between 2 points. Now I noticed that this guy is not going to the calf, and I wanted to have a little bit of calf. This guy has an 80 calf, and this guy has a 60. So, make sure you kind of keep a balance between things here. Really take your time. This is the final stage of your work, so you should really not try to pressure it too much. Little touches there and there. So now for the final touch, I think I'm not going to touch more than those guys over here. And there you go. Now this guy needs to move 2. Now it's a matter of seeing how things are moving in here. Now this guy's not moving 2. There we go. Now we have our knee not breaking as much, stretching a little bit over there, of course. And voila. This is pretty much how we're gonna fix everything in here. So now if you compare knees, this one and compare to the other one, they're very similar, but look at this. We don't have this breaking happening anymore. See, it's kind of trying to follow, stretching it and fixing it. Just so. And that's how you skin. I mean, it's exactly how you skin the whole body. So for example, let's go for a more problematic area. So now when we open the spread lights, right there. So this is a problematic area, okay? This is where it's hard to skin here. It's really hard. So what we do to help us is we take it slow. So normally I would love if IMVU, instead of having hip would have only hip. One hip instead of double hip. But it is what it is. So we select this hip over here. Now very slow we start seeing the problem, right? Those vertices around this area. Those guys. We're gonna start with this guys. And we're gonna add a little bit to time. So we're gonna do the same technique we did. It's exactly the same. And we're gonna start trying to make this kind of make sense. And now we're gonna grab those. And instead of tie, we want the hip. So we kind of start smoothing things out around here. Now those guys. Hip. As you can see, there's, and here we will fix that in a second. First, let's worry about big things because they mess up our eyes. Take it really slow, small selections, and more hip. There you go. The selection is not good. This guy, I think, is the only one missing. No. Actually, we shouldn't even touch these guys. I'm just touching the front guys here. This will never look perfect, okay? So you try to make it as best as you can. One thing is for sure, the more work you spend, the more time you spend doing this, the better results you're gonna get, obviously. But Those areas are always complicated in IMVU at least. And this guy over here, just playing the values. You start to get it. It's pretty much playing the values between the bones that they're close to each other. And now if there's a faster way, maybe with the painting we can get faster result, but sometimes the painting doesn't really work as much as we think. Which I will show that technique in a second. It needs to be smooth, obviously, so. See how we went from that to getting a little bit more logic, like in our mesh. Now all of this guys, and we're gonna have some more hip. Small clicks. Maybe those guys we had more or less hip, but overall it's starting to look good. Remember, this is an extreme pose. So now what I was talking about painting. Okay, so first of all we're gonna save so far because sometimes painting it gives us trouble. So this is gonna be my 7th. We should have something closer more, but should be around that. And what we have by painting is we can paint wedges. So when we turn this on, make sure we have the paint blend option on, and now we get this thing. So hip is selected, so I'm gonna paint hip. So I can come over here and I can just click, and it will try. See how I don't like what's happening already? You need to be careful. It will smooth things out for us between the tie and the hip, just like so. But remember, first you need to make the blocking or this won't work. And just smooth it out, just like that. And it will automatically start putting more points to the hip or the tie, depending on what I'm looking for. As you can see, all these points over here, this is all tie points, or I mean hip points. So just like that. And we start skinning by painting, literally. I'm just clicking with my mouse and painting. With the hip selected, and then I'm just painting for hip influence. It may maybe give me some trouble, but for now I'm just gonna keep on going. I'm gonna do some drastic painting in here. Even if I don't, this is already out of the question, okay? I'm already painting out of the question. So to take a painting off, you take the painting off, the paint blank weights off, Alt, and we can remove whatever influence I was making. And then if I turn it off on again, I can paint. Now I can now select the tie bone by turning this off, tie bone, and I'll paint more influence in the tie. And as you can see, it will always find a way to fix each other with the hip. But be careful, when you start painting, things start looking nice, but they're not actually nice. You need to be careful with that. Just like so. Starting to fix those values, making it look a bit better. Remember, extreme poses doesn't mean you're gonna get the shape on the extreme pose completely. Okay, I can see the mistake right there. I'm touching what I'm not supposed to touch, so just take it off. Same goes for the hip. If you're touching something you're not supposed to touch, take it off. By holding Alt and deleting what you're not supposed to touch for now. So now the hip is influencing more than I was expecting, so I really don't like that. But it is smoothing out the result for us. And now something is weird is sometimes you need to use the pelvis, which is something I don't understand very well why. But sometimes you need to understand that the pelvis can help you with the skinning, but you shouldn't use it as last resort because you can have unpredictable results on the IMVU after. Painting hips. Slowly. So now, for example, here on the spine one, you can see here the influence on the spine one and the hip. We need to fix this, right? So what we can do, we can select this spine with this painting on, or we can go manually touching those vertices and then just do the last tweak with the paint to smooth them out. But they're not falling well, right? So now if we paint with the blend option, this is not connected. So this is the troubles. We did the weld, but still the weld didn't work. So after all of this work we done, we need to make sure those things are welded, or this will happen. So let's go back here. Let's go back here. Skin off. We're gonna go edit poly, and we're gonna see why those didn't weld, even if we saw that they weld. So what's happening in here? Why didn't you weld? So make sure ignore back facing is on. And those guys didn't weld for reasons, and they keep not welding. So we're gonna raise the weld thing over there, and now you should start welding. This is the problem I was talking about. Those things need to be welded, and as you can see, a mistake happened. But because we have everything so well done in here by default, everything is well separated, everything is editable in its own way. We have modifiers, we have edited polys all over the place. That means we can just keep welding and welding. And we should have no problems whatsoever. Those are good, those are good. Some of them didn't weld for some reason. But that's not an issue because we know how to fix those things. Probably is when we did the mesh smooth, something broke. But there you go. So I'm just going around, selecting those, fixing the mistake that was in there. A lot of them was not welded. That's very interesting. And keep on going. And now everything looks good. So now if we go back to skin, hopefully nothing should be welded and we can continue from there. So I was moving on spine one, so we're going to turn on editing skin here. Spine 1, and this is pelvis, which is affecting. I don't want it to affect anything for now. I don't want pelvis anywhere. Okay, I can change that because there's no other way there. So now I'm gonna go click on this spine 1 paint. I want to go to find this deformation. There we go. And now if I paint this, I can start getting here a connection between those two places. Remember, this is an extreme pose, so be careful not to fix the extreme too much. We have the spine selected, but we can select, for example, here at the hip as well and paint with the paint on. And we start smoothing out those areas. Just like so. We only using this side of the hip. And we keep going on fixing this guy. There you go. It's pretty much a very long process. I mean, this video can go for hours and hours and hours, and now I'll be doing the same thing over and over again. I select one bone, I fix the area that is damaged with the other bone. That's pretty much how it works. And then the only difference is, after everything is done, you need to be careful is the middle part over here, which needs to have values from both sides, which is the only difference. But other than that, it's going to be the same thing over and over again. Painting, using values, automatic values, and just kind of fixing the shape. As you can see, it looks way much better. This curve in here was looking really bad. And now we can select this other tie and we can paint, do the same process on this side as well, fixing those weird curves we have over here, fixing this deformation. That's the word I was looking for. And we just kind of keep working until we are happy with the result. Now, something you need to remember is it's okay to do a big blocking and a big fixing, but remember, IMVU has the final decision. So whether you like it or not, you have to go on IMVU and test it over and over again. And remember, be careful what poses you test on, because some people use some weird poses and kind of breaks the meshes. Sometimes it's not the mesh fault or the skinning, but the poses. Remember that when you're testing as well. Make sure you use good poses for your testing. Just like so, and now we're gonna go on the spine one, and we're gonna put some paintings in here as well. Always with the paint blend option on, okay? Because that's what's blending it in. It's already looking way much nice than it was, obviously. So I think I'm gonna go here a little bit. I think I'm pushing it now. You can hold shift as well to smooth. As you can see, I don't like where this is going. It's going out of the spine. I just immediately take it out. Just gotta be careful where you're painting. Now this one, maybe I can put it in there. Kinda. This one's, yeah. Until here, I think it's okay. Solid to say this part kind of belongs there. Smoothing it out. When you don't like something, take it off. And now, remember, we still have another pose for the spine, which is this one. Look at that, see? It's looking nicely. Look at the stretch here, perfect. Now we can actually see the stretching of the mesh. You see here? Look at the lines of the polygons, the edges there. We can totally fix this now. So if there's any spine over here, any hip over there, immediately take it off. That means something is not right. So if I go here now, and I see that that's not right. It's too high for the hip. So we can immediately take this out. Even if we need it, we're gonna probably use the pelvis here to fix some of those areas, because the hip, it's not supposed to be there. And now we have the bending this side. Now look how it breaks there. That means this area is not following so well, so we need to blend it in. Remember, this is an extreme movement, okay? The spine one is not supposed to, our body doesn't move like that, so we want to smooth things out with the spine selected. One, and paint. See how he's influenced here? I don't want him to influence us. It's going to give us troubles on the long run. It's okay if some parts break. It's totally fine. But to be correct, this is supposed to be something like this. To make sense, right? But then again, it's the spine bone is getting affected in areas it's not supposed to be. So that's why we're gonna use the pelvis in here in a second. But first, we're gonna use again. We're gonna block the main bones as much as we can. And then I'm pretty sure I need to remove some hip or something. Let's see the back again. We don't want to rubber ends, but we don't want it to break as much as well. And look how high that hip is, even if it's actually not that high. Actually, it's not bad. Okay. This movement is completely weak. Look how he's moving now, way too much things in there. It's because we have spine 1 affecting now the bottom part, and that causes problems, see? So what we do is we have to make sure that when we're fixing this, make sure you check every, that's why we do those poses, we need to check every single angle. And remember, extreme sometimes does not need fixing. It's an extreme pose, not supposed to happen. We're just using it for meshing purposes. Again, now this is what I talked about the pelvis node. We're going to probably use here the pelvis node, this guy over here, which is actually already affecting our work. And that's not nice. The pelvis node brings some edges and brings some not good stuff sometimes, because it's okay to skin a little bit to the pelvis, because that's how IMVU was meant to be, but sometimes it can cause you some troubles. So right now, what I'm gonna do, everything that is pelvis, I'm gonna take it out. I really do not want pelvis affecting any of my stuff. I just want the spine and the hips work well, and then if there is a big mistake, then I will use the pelvis to fix. Right now, we're just gonna keep blocking and making it a little bit better for now. As you can see here, the weird movement there. And again, now this is a repeat over and over again. So now here, this one is more easy to fix. Some are going to be more easy to fix than others. So this is probably spine 2. So the spine 2, it's literally has no area of effect, so nothing is blocked. So we need to go back to the blocking area, the blocking stage that we were working on. So I can see the spine 1, where the spine 1 ends. So we come over here. We see spine 1 ends around over here. So what I want now, I want to select what I think is going to be spine 2. What is this one? Spine 3. Spine 2 is only just a little bit. We can probably just remove plenty of this out. So sometimes, okay, let's see if we need this bone or not. So spine 3 is actually big influence in there. And then 4. Okay. So spine 2 is actually a little small area of effect compared to. So we're gonna come over here, we're gonna select. It's gonna be like around here. I'm gonna make this selection as a spine 2. Again, we have the back face cutting on, so. So actually spine 2 is gonna be branching a little bit more than I think, just like that. Just like that. Actually, I was taking it out, but apparently it's supposed to be it. So, oops, careful what you're doing. And just like that. No, I just manually deselect. This one. No, actually I do want that one. Didn't I want that one? No, this one is out. Okay. see if everything is right. We're missing a few here. There we go. I'm gonna block this area as just not. But this one, yes. And this is it. You're just gonna keep doing this over and over again. I'm gonna stop the video and come back when everything is done, because this process is it's just boring and long, and it takes some hours, even days. So it's up to you and how much you want to put into it. And one advice I can give you is take it easy. Take it easy and find your mistakes and use IMVU, upload to IMVU and check it if it's looking good or not. And for now, finish really quick, spine number 2 and now 1. So now we block this as the spine number 2, and I'm gonna stop the video for here. I see you guys when I'm done skinning everything of this guy, and then we're gonna be uploading on IMVU, doing tasks, doing tweaks until we're really 100% happy with the shape. So I see you guys next time.
So that's it for part 3. Make sure you guys leave a comment below on what you thought or if you had any questions. For part 4, click here and make sure that you guys are subscribing to our channel to learn more. Thanks, guys.